Hi everybody, I wanted to take a second and show you a tip when it comes to cleaning lilies. Now, if you're new to lilies, this might be earth-shattering. If you've been around working with lilies for a long time, I hope this is something that's helpful for you because I know over the years it's been a frustrating thing for lots of people. And what I'm talking about is pollen on the flowers. So so we have a bunch of lilies here, and all of these flowers are a little on the aged side. I have had them in the garage for actually maybe a couple of weeks, sorry to say, and trying to let them get open and messy because I wanted to show you this trick, like really how it truly is. And so one thing I want to point out is if it's a dark lily with dark pollen like this, it's probably not that big of a deal. This pollen is kind of a rusty red, and of course the lily has some orange in it, so it really kind of is not that dramatic. But still, I'd want to get the pollen out if I could, just because it just makes everything cleaner. Because if you're doing, let's say you're doing a bouquet, you're doing an arrangement of designs of some kind, and this pollen can get on your other flowers too. Yeah, so you might by accident, like I got some on this tablecloth that I've got here, and it gets on your flowers. So if you have other white flowers mixed with lilies and things that have pollen on them, sometimes it kind of carries over, and you don't want that to happen either. So we got two things we're trying to solve, two problems to solve here. And how do we get rid of pollen? Well, I've got some beautiful lilies, and I have these yellow ones because they're really dramatic as far as seeing the pollen. Hopefully it's enough for you to actually get an idea. But the trick is to use, okay, you ready? The trick is to use something that's cotton, made out of cotton. So I have some Q-tips here, which work great. It's nice having a little bit of like a stem where you can reach inside of the flower. I didn't even think we had these, but we were unpacking, and cotton balls. That works really great. In fact, I just got some pollen off of this tablecloth with this. So cotton balls. And last but not least, here, I'm gonna pull a yellow one out because you might get to see the pollen better. But these are pipe cleaners. And so I have a bag of all kinds of colors, pipe cleaners, but these work really well too because you can just kind of fold them in half, and they become, I kind of twist them a little bit, and they become sort of an instrument to go into the flower. Now I will say that I would probably pinch this a little bit so it's more straight, not a big loop, just because it's a little bit better as far as accuracy when you're reaching into a flower, because you don't want to spread more pollen, right? Now I will say that this trick works on Oriental lilies, LA hybrids, regular Asiatic lilies, even amaryllis. So anything that has sort of this traditional anthers with pollen that kind of gets in the way to make things messy. Okay, so let's start right here. Okay, this is good. So you're gonna see, so you see how bright and pretty that yellow is? And we really don't want to get pollen on that. We want it to be clean, right? Now, I know when some people design with flowers, especially lilies, they like that natural look, to have the anthers in there. And I've even had customers get mad because I pulled them out. Now, that's rare. That's very rare. But anyway, so I'm going to reach in there and I'm going to pull these anthers off with the pollen on them. And when it's really, really pollinated, I don't know if you can see this or not, even doing that, you see there's a little bit of pollen right there on the lower half of the flower. Just touching the pollen caused it to shed, okay? So I'm gonna take this pipe cleaner. In fact, just to make it easier, I'm gonna break this off. I know it's a little painful, but we're gonna break it off. So you can see the pollen on there again. And this is not a bad one, and so it makes it easier. Now I will say one thing. In removing pollen, keeping everything dry is really important. The second you've got water introduced into it, it becomes extra messy, and that's almost unrecoverable. So you want to do it definitely dry, whether it's even on, like I just wiped the pollen off of this cutting board, I just wiped the pollen off this tablecloth with a cotton ball. It was dry, and it just picks it right up. Okay, so I'm gonna actually, it's hard to do this backwards, so I'm gonna try. I'm gonna actually reach in here and I'm just brushing. I'm not rubbing, I'm not trying to like be aggressive with it, but I am literally just brushing. And some of that actually just brushes the pollen off the flower onto this cutting board. But then sometimes, I think you're gonna be able to see this really well. Well, maybe not. Well, we'll see. So I don't know if you can see that discoloration. That is all pollen. Let me see if I can turn this way. That is all pollen. And now you can see it's all gone. And it's perfectly clean. And when you have white lilies, when you have like blush lilies, when you have these bright, really great spring colors, you just don't want the flowers to get muddied with pollen on them. It just makes a totally cleaner look. Now, I'm kind of embarrassed at how bad these lilies look, but this was what I had to do in order to get the lilies really performing what we want them to do here. All right, so you can see there's pollen on the petals and there's pollen on the anther still. So I'm gonna pull this pollen off. And this time I'm gonna try a cotton ball. Because a lot of times people have cotton balls when they don't have pipe cleaners. Now, the one thing about using something wide like this is you can see how it really doesn't fit into the flower very well to really get down in there and really clean it up. So as a result, I'm kind of limited what I can do here, but I'm gonna try. So you see the pollen. That's the before I used the Fabric of Our Lives. That was my cotton plug. Okay. It really is amazing. So again, these lilies, even though they've been out like for 2 weeks, aren't that bad. But you can see a little bit of pollen there, and it's all gone. It's all gone. Isn't that amazing? So cotton is a trick. You can use Q-tips. I like chenille stems or pipe cleaners or cotton balls. I've even used some cotton packing that comes in orchids sometimes. It all works well, and it can really save the day when it comes to lilies if you've gotten pollen on them, because you just hate them to be so messy. So anyway, keeping it short, and enjoy your lilies next time. And take care. All right. Thanks so much.